What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow investors and entrepreneurs and the cryptocurrency world, where we feel like crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years. If that's something that you're interested in, you are in the right freaking place. So welcome. We have an excellent guest today. We're pumped to talk about some of the things we're going to cover. It'll be a lot of fun. But first, Corey, of course, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here in the beautiful country of Puerto Rico, just having a great time being on this journey where we're going to use that cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool and use real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And I'll tell you what, our guest today, I feel like him and his partner are going to be solely responsible for the Pulsechain bull run that's to come here in fall. They're literally grabbing the bull by its horns and dragging us through the mud as RH is kind of missing. Completely understandable with all the crap going on. But these builders are what really is making Pulsechain thrive. Of course, we got the meme coins too. But me and Dane's interest is in the builders and more of the blue chip protocols, the more sophisticated tools that investors, bigger money, we want big money, to come in and use and play around on our chain. So, man, Dylan, we thank you again. God bless, man. This is like the second or third time you've been on our show with a new tool that you're launching on Pulsechain. This is absolutely amazing. And I thank you again for what you're doing for the community. And it's just been a blessing. So thank you, my friend.
Thanks for that introduction, Gary. That's great. But yeah, guys, I'm excited to be here. As you can see in the title, we're talking about Phame today, right? Which is pretty interesting, right? I think the last time I was on here, we were talking about fiat, and and the previous time before that, I think it might have been PHUX, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
wild. Like, talk to us, Dylan. I don't understand. I've been trying to wrap my head around the concept. How is the PH team turning out all this stuff while everybody else seems to I don't want to say sitting on their hands, but gosh,
they're working. Like, you know, the other teams, they're working.
You do that.
They're doing their best, right? Yeah, but the thing is, the PH guys, they have their own devs, right? So, you know, and they're highly incentivized, right? You know, they're partners. So it's a unique position where there's no sort of subcontracting going on or anything like that, or you know, like other dev teams that aren't really, like, they just get a paycheck and they don't really give a shit, right? Well, I can't say that, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, right, their incentivized are very aligned for the three devs that we have for PHs. So, but yeah, two of them are partners and the other one is just.
Is there three devs now? Did you guys add another one?
Yeah, there's one that's a UI dev. He works on Fatty.
Oh, cool.
Is he called Dev 3?
Yeah. Yes, he's called Dev 3. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have great devs, part of the core team. That's right. Yep. Dev 1 and Dev 2. God Dev and then Dev 2. Yep.
Sure.
God Dev is very meticulous, Buck says. And God Dev doesn't like to talk to anybody. Dev 2 will talk to me, but very rarely. But yes,
just him and Buck.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, which is nice, right? You want him to work. You don't want him talking to you, right? You just, hey, do your thing, man.
Yeah, get it done. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I think we have a unique competitive advantage in that aspect, right? Especially with the synergies of the three protocols, right? Or four, even though Fatty doesn't have a token. You know, you have the DEX tailored for Pulsechain, right? Then you have the Aave fork tailored for Pulsechain. And then now you're going to have the GMX fork tailored for Pulsechain, right? So we have all these three things, which can have amazing synergies working in tandem and side by side. And, you know, obviously when Phame token launches this weekend on, I think, Saturday. So keep out for the Twitter Spaces. We're going to have a nice celebration on Twitter Spaces. I think it's 10:45 a.m. on Saturday. So
is that
EST?
EST. Yeah, sorry, Florida Man time. Yes. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. You're probably going to be able to trade Phame. The most liquid pair obviously is going to be on PHUX. which if you don't know, it's just a fork of balancer. You can go read up on that and stuff, and go look up the videos on read about it on Telegram or whatever, right? Anyways, and then Fiat is already running. It's doing really well, actually. I think there's $2.5 million of TVL. What the hell is popping up on my camera?
What is that?
Why you got a countdown, bro? What's going on?
Hey, the Phame launch is early. Dylan's about to kick it off. Let's do it.
On our show, guys. We are live right now.
Yeah, hold on. I think it might actually be recording. Whoops.
No, you're good. We got the dudes in the comments. This is great. Yeah, Briz is here.
Yeah.
Briz.
Briggsology picked up Matty Allen yesterday. I told him to drive safe because we don't need another car accident with Matty. He's
especially with Briggsology in there. Jeez, killing two birds with one stone. Literally, we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't do that. Even though I think Briggs is very special. Okay. Yeah, I still got to look out for my guys. All right.
Right.
Anyways, back on topic. So, Fiat's doing really well. There's a lot of loans being taken at the moment, right? I think the last I checked, like half of all of the stable coins on Fiat are being borrowed, which is that's amazing, right? That is something that is lovely to see. Fiat.
Yeah, in fact, when you're ready, feel free to share your screen. I'll put it up here so we can see what you're looking at.
Yeah, sure. Present.
Yeah, Motley. Yeah, Nelvis. Imagine Aave, GMX, and Uniswap all working together
on the same chain. Yeah.
No other blockchain has monopoly on lending, leverage, and liquidity like the PH team has established. It's really impressive and something completely unique to Pulsechain. We're excited for it.
That's right. Thanks for that, Motley. And yeah, I mean, Fiat's doing well. 2.2 million. My bad. Yeah. But as you can see on DAI, $155,000 is being borrowed right now, out of 300,000. Right, on USDT, $100,000 is being borrowed. Right, that's easily a decent house. Okay, and then $96,000 on USDC, also a decent chunk of money. All three of these combined, you could buy a fucking house with that, right? Like, and you're paying 3.58%, or let's say 3.5% on average for that loan. Obviously,
now that's not PDI, is there, Dylan? That's
the real one. Yeah, that's the $1 one.
I know. Just giving you shit.
just throw that out there. PDI is not on here, guys.
Okay.
Need to clarify.
But I thought it's getting pegged to $1, bro.
It'll be here soon.
Hey, bubbles can happen, and they happen often. Okay.
Yeah.
Bubbles do happen,
especially in crypto.
Yes, especially in crypto. All right. Sustainable? No. Hex was in a bubble. It is no longer in a bubble. It didn't stay at 50 cents for very long. PDI goes to $1. Even though they have burnt liquidity, there's still $21 billion of stuff, right, that exists on Pulsechain now. Right. So,
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's off topic.
You didn't go sell all your hex for the PDI top here, Dylan?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna pull a Nagabo.
yeah, I saw him do that.
Wrecked. I'm not gonna do that. No.
He's done that a couple times with a few different shills, and he kind of follows the herd. But that's yeah.
Anyways.
Another show.
Lots of fun personalities out there.
Yeah. Right. Oh my God. You tell me.
And so, but yeah, I mean, Fiat's doing well. If you guys don't know, Fiat is a decentralized bank on Pulsechain, right? It allows you to be a depositor, which basically can be like single-sided staking if you want to look at it that way, for like PulseX, right? So if you deposit your PulseX here, you're getting a 1% yield on your Pulse or your PulseX. And you have your risks would be contract risk or bad debt, right? But with the bad debt, we've had we've inserted risk mitigation factors on limiting deposits and limiting borrowing to kind of mitigate that from happening, right? And bad debt would happen if, like, say, God will, like if we didn't have any limits, right, it would look like Godwell depositing a bunch of hex, right, borrowing everything, and then the platform is left holding the bag and trying to sell Godwell's hex to repay the loans, but there's not enough liquidity in the liquidity pool to do that, right? So that would cause bad debt, right? So with these limits, it kind of prevents that from happening. You have a maximum deposit per account that you have to kind of just make it harder to game the system. You know what I mean? But yep, that's the risks. And you can be that's for deposits. You can be a speculator, so you can deposit, then you can borrow, you can go short, you can long, you can hedge your positions, whatever you want to do on fiat, and then you can be a staker, right? And you can get a share of the revenue generated on the platform, which is I think 50%, right? So the borrowers are paying a high yield, the depositors are being paid a smaller yield, and you're getting the middle, right? You're getting half of these fees, okay, which is pretty cool. And that's hard cash, right? You're not getting Ponzi tokens, you're getting cash. So that's fiat. And the main bell of the ball this hour is Phame, right? So
really quick before we get into Phame, there's a few questions in the comments about how to use fiat. They do a great job with all that information in the fiat Telegram. Dylan's in there. There's all sorts of content on how to go long and short. And there's a lot of people that are very helpful. So if you have questions specifically on how to use fiat, go check out the Telegram. There's everything that you need there to borrow and to go long and short.
Dylan, don't you have your own YouTube or Buck, and you guys are doing tutorial videos?
There is a YouTube channel, yes. It is, if you go to the PHUX Telegram and you type in !YouTube, it'll link it to you.
And you've been doing tutorials, you and Buck, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, so Buck's made some videos. He has, but they're not uploaded. There's one video that I'm waiting to it was like a 20-minute long video on your health factor, how to calculate it,
great.
On how to isolate your risks between your deposits, right? So if you wanted to deposit a range of different assets, but you wanted to isolate because you're doing one speculative play. So say you're going, let's go to fiat here. Let's say you're going and you're going to open up a long on Pulse, right? Yeah. But you have stablecoin deposits, right? And then you have your Pulse deposit. Well, I don't want to use my stablecoins as collateral because I don't want to risk my stablecoins. So I can select on the platform that it is not being considered in my health factor. It's not being considered as my collateral towards my position. And I can isolate my trade with my Pulse, right? And then in doing so, all that I'm risking is my Pulse, okay? That's powerful, right? That's useful. And then in the rest of the video, it's kind of long, but I go over, going long, and then the looping method, right? And then going and doing the reverse. So then I isolate my Pulse away from my stablecoin bag, and then I go short, right? So I do the exact opposite, and basically showing you all that stuff. But yep, that just hasn't been published yet. But
very cool. We're looking forward to it.
Yep. So Phame, gentlemen, Phame. This is a fork of GMX. It is it was the darling of the bear market in 2022. GMX was I think the only protocol on Arbitrum that I know you guys love the way I say that on Arbitrum that is really worth looking at, right? It really brought it to life. It brought Arbitrum to life. It other than GMX, I don't know why you would be over there, to be honest. Okay, but through 2022. It generated over $120 million in fees. Okay. And that's just on Arbitrum. It was also forked on another, right? Which is nuts. Okay. And what's unique is on Famous, you can stake your Phame tokens and you can get a share of those fees that are generated, right? So 60% of those fees will be paid to the PHLP guys, which is the liquidity pool, right? So this is your PHLP index composition, right? 60% of the fees will go to that. And then the other 40% will be paid to the stakers of the Phame token, right? And there's been a little bit of changes. If you're familiar with GMX, this should be familiar to you. However, the tokenomics are a little bit different, right? On GMX, they've added some Ponzi-nomics where like their token inflates and there's a inflation schedule, and then like you do some weird shit and you get more stuff. Okay. Ours is pretty straightforward. It's just like everything else that we have. You can stake it and get a share of the revenue generated from the platform, or you don't, right? So there's a couple ways to play this game, just like fiat. You can be a liquidity provider. Okay. So when you're being a liquidity provider, basically, oh, my camera died or something.
That's all right.
You got the timer going down, bro.
Dude, my camera's fucked right now. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. So yeah, you can be a liquidity provider, and you're essentially betting against the traders, right? So you're providing your liquidity for others to be able to take out leverage and bet on the price.
Right.
Okay. So there is a risk where, let's look at here. Let's look at Phame Analytics. This is going to be your best friend. This is going to be your best friend as a liquidity provider of Phame, as a general user on what's going on, the fees that are happening, the total volume. You can see on Phame, we've traded almost $1 billion on testnet, which is pretty good. Yeah. And then total fees, $1 million. Pretty cool. PHLP pool is worth $84 million. That puppy is maxed out. And you can see the general overall statistics that we've had on testnet, right? But what you want to see as a PHLP guy is your P&L, which is the inverse of the trader's net P&L, right?
Right.
So on GMX, you'll notice that I don't have the link to that right now, but if you pull it up on GMX, their statistics page, the traders, they lose quite a bit, right? Especially in the FTX debacle stuff. They were hemorrhaging money. The traders were losing their ass. Okay. And the GLP guys, in this case, the PHLP guys, they were making money off the traders, right? And then as the market started to recover, the traders started to win a little bit more. But overall, that entire span of time, the liquidity providers are still up and they're still winning over the traders, right? But there will be times where traders will win. There's going to be times where the liquidity providers will win, right?
Really quick, I'll steal the screen. Here's the P&L on GMX for the traders. You can see they got destroyed.
That's right.
They got destroyed for a pretty considerable amount of time there, and so it would have been quite profitable to be the LP person on the other side of that over on GMX.
Yeah, exactly. Even right now, looks like it's on a downtrend for the traders over there.
Yeah. I mean, because these guys, it's really easy for them to just click long and just let that puppy sit, right? And then as the market starts to go, they get liquidated. That's just what happens, right? So and generally speaking, in the up markets, it's easy. It's like you're providing liquidity on a liquidity pool, right? You're going to experience a little bit of impermanent loss if everybody's winning. You know what I mean? But you're still going to have the exposure to the assets because you're in an index.
And you're making the fees.
Correct. That's correct. Yes. So when you open up your positions, let's see if I can find so you can see open interest, which is, that's paid out hourly, right? Based on the composition of the pools. So how thick the liquidity is, and then how big the open interest is determines how fat the fees are, right? Let's see here if I can find. This is users, AMU or AUM, trades profit and loss, HLP performance. Okay, so this is your performance as a liquidity provider with fees included, right? So,
that's cool.
That is really cool. That's a real quick snapshot of your P&L right there on a chart. On a chart.
Precisely, yeah. So even with the winnings and of the traders, you're still up, right, on this index. And I've successfully nuke the shit out of the price of Hex on testnet. So
See,
even
I'm
with that,
afraid of you doing something like that. I want to be a PHLP guy because I love the idea of being the house because I dealt blackjack, dude, for 13 years.
really okay.
Oh yeah, many years ago, before my real estate journey, and I love the idea of being the house because the house always wins in the long run. Now, in the short term, someone can kick your ass, but in the long run, you're always going to win. And so, like, I want to be the PHLP guy, but in the beginning, me and Dane were talking about this yesterday. In the beginning, I'm afraid of you going on there or a couple other big whales like Motley or whoever and smashing the price against me and taking
Yeah. Well,
and beating the house temporarily. You know what I mean?
let me tell you something. Check this out. Let's go scroll back up to the top of the testnet here, right? So 74 users over the span of a week and a half have used this, right? And I've been lucky enough that when I do trade, I'm the only one trading, right? So, I invite you guys on to trade with me, but I'm the only one trading on PulseX. So it's like the easiest thing in the world to just move the market, right? But
the market.
yeah, in the real market, right? This is testnet, guys, right? We're trading stupid, retarded amounts of money,
Right.
tens of billions of dollars, okay, and trying to liquidate 100K, right, which is absolutely stupid, okay.
Right.
Whereas in the real market, who in their right mind is going to risk 10 million bucks to liquidate 100 grand? Like, just think about that.
Yeah, nobody's doing that.
Good point.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is you'll see bigger guys, they'll take notice of stuff, right? But unless they know it's a sure thing or anything like that, they're not going to try and run the stops like that. You know what I mean? Especially when there's always someone that's bigger than you. There's always a bigger whale. Okay. Unless you're Richard, then you're the whale, right? But he's your favorite client,
Right.
So much effort defined by testnet billions. Yeah, see, so like I invited Motley to come trade with me the other day, right? Because he would kick my ass. That motherfucker has way more shit than I do on testnet, right? And so, but he can't get to it right now. However, if he could literally counter trade me to death, and I would go bankrupt on testnet, right?
Sure.
So, but yes, and I wanted to get to this point where it'll most likely be like a big Mexican standoff, right? You'll have a bunch of the whales, like they're all holding guns and they're all pointing at each other, right?
Right.
And they're like, all right, you make the first move. Well, no, you make the first move. And then like they're all just holding their guns at each other's heads, okay? And they're in a big circle. And they're all just kind of watching and seeing what everybody else is doing, right? And then naturally the market just moves, I think, in my opinion.
This is so good for volume and volatility.
Volatility. We need it.
Yeah, so you'll see some whales that will do something silly, and then you'll see a bunch of other guys pile in that aren't as big, and then they'll try and counter trade or something like this, right? But I mean, that's just par to the course, gentlemen. That's the PvP of the market, right? This is happening all the time. Hopefully it sparks a little bit more of this happening now, and then they have these extra cool tools to help them achieve their goals of ramping up the speculation, I guess, right? But yeah, so that's what I think about that. On testnet, when I'm running the stops, it's extremely easy because nobody else is trading with me. So, I literally have testnet at my fingertips, right? Whereas on mainnet, that's not going to happen, right? You have thousands of people that are watching this every fucking hour.
Yes.
And they have more money than me, and they have more money than you. And so they're watching as well. And they're waiting for you to fuck up in some sort of way, or you lose your pants and then the tide goes out and then you're wrecked, right? So, but yeah, kind of taking the passive approach, following what the big guys do. I mean, that's probably, a nice strategy, I guess, perhaps.
Yeah, I like the idea of just being the other side of all the trades, man. And because I mean, historically, 95% of all traders get wrecked. You got the guys who are really good, who know how to beat the house. They're out there, but they can't
give them enough time.
They can't make up for all the money being lost from all the plebs because there's so many people who are in there just being degens and getting wrecked.
That's right.
So I love the idea of being the hand. I might let it cool down for a week or two, but man, I'm probably going to end up being a PHLP provider.
Well, what's interesting is Phame is not a price maker. It is a price taker. So what does that mean? That means Phame is pulling the price off of Pulsex, PHUX, and any other DEX that is on Pulsechain. So if the price is very volatile, it's because the prices on Pulsechain are very volatile. You know what I mean? So what happens on Phame is the traders and the liquidity providers are speculating, or basically player versus player. They're betting on the price, right? So there's not really like if I open up $1 million worth of $1 million long position, right? That doesn't move the hex price. If I open up $1 million hex long, right? I'm literally just betting on that ticker symbol. Okay. Now somebody can take notice of that and think, oh wow, this guy went $1 million long. I wonder what he knows. I'm gonna go buy. Right?
Exactly.
And then they go and buy on Pulsex or PHUX, right? And then they pump the price up a little bit, and now your long is in profit. Okay. Or at the inverse of that, they see you open up $1 million worth of longs. Oh, okay. Why did this guy go long? Is he retarded? I'm gonna sell, and then they counter trade you. You know, so you're gonna see just like I don't know, guys. You're just gonna see people notice interesting things and start doing cool stuff on mainnet, right?
Right.
But that's PHLP, right? And a quick rundown on how to deposit into the PHLP pool. If you wanted to be a liquidity provider, you click on Earn right here. You go to PHLP, this tab here. You go to Provide Liquidity on Phame.io. And then now you're brought to this page, okay? So you'll see that there is available amounts that you can deposit. And then for Pulse and Pulsex, it's 0. So that means the pool is maxed out, right? So on testnet, it's I think $20 million of assets for these pools, which means that if you want to buy the PHLP token, which is like a token of receipt to redeem liquidity, you cannot buy it with Pulse in this instance because the pool is full. Okay, but you can buy it with DAI, right? And at any time after, so if once I initiate these transactions, and I buy this PHLP, I have to wait 15 minutes before I can send it, before I can put it in a liquidity pool, before I can redeem it. Okay, so it sits in your wallet for 15 minutes.
Oh, you can't do anything with it.
Correct, for 15 minutes.
Why is that?
This is because it's to prevent gaming, right? So let's say you weren't able to, let's say you...
Well, in 5 minutes, you could go get a PHLP position. You could deposit it so that you're getting, you're getting fees. And then you could go run the price up. You could profit from that and then pull it all in a span of 5 minutes if you're a big bag holder and want to manipulate the market. So the 15 minutes keeps that from happening, is my understanding, right? Something like that.
Sure. There could also be a attack vector where you had a flash loan, and then you opened up a long or something, you deposited PHLP, you started messing with stuff, right? Or if there's an arbitrage between some of the assets where you deposit Pulse and then you withdraw DAI, which is that's entirely what you can do. But if you do it fast enough or something, you could game it in some sort of way, right? So having the 15-minute lag prevents the gaming of the system, right? So, but essentially, if you're familiar with PHUX and you have like a multi-token pool, it works in a similar way to that, right? Where you can deposit one side of the pool. However, it's not selling your tokens like on PHUX. You're literally just buying more of the liquidity token, right? So let's buy some with some DAI. Let's do.
I mean, this might be a good place to put your wrecked Pulsex bag into.
I mean, yeah,
and earn some money on it.
Let's be honest. any yield you can get on PulseX is probably
That'd be a good deal.
is good for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, especially if you're just sitting on it, right? Like, let's be honest here. So I'm buying PHLP, which is its own token, which is tradable after the 15 minutes. You can then deposit it on Pulsex and open up your own liquidity pools. You can deposit it on PHUX and open up your own liquidity pools, and it will have its own price, right? So on testnet here, the price is $1.45 per PHLP. Okay, so if I go and I've provided liquidity on Pulsex, if I go on Pulsex, I can buy the PHLP token, and I can redeem it for whatever asset I want in the PHLP pool, whether or not it's all Pulse, whether it's Pulse and Pulsex, whether it's only DAI, it doesn't matter. You can, it's a token of receipt, so you can withdraw whatever you want after that, 15-minute window or whatever. So now I'm going to buy the PHLP because I just did an approved transaction.
And theoretically, the PHLP token could be traded also, so it should have volatility to it as well, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, and that depends on the underlying assets in the pool, the performance of those assets, and then it depends on the P&L of the PHLP guys, right? So let's say the traders like completely destroy and they're winning a shitload, and the PHLP pool is being drained. The token, the price of PHLP will start to fall, right? So because the supply stays the same, but the value behind the supply is decreasing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, in an ideal world, you'll see where I deposited around $60 million. So I did 2468, right? And there's $90 million now worth of PHLP in existence, but I deposited 880, right? So it is winning right now. But yeah. Anyways, so that's PHLP, right? If you're a PHLP provider, again, you're betting that the traders are going to lose and you're going to take their money, right? I haven't mentioned that you as a liquidity provider exclusively get the collateral that is liquidated from traders, right? So if somebody goes 10x long with 100 grand and they open up $1 million and they get liquidated, that $100,000 is given to the PHLP guys exclusively. That's not shared with stakers, right? So that's given straight to the PHLP guys, right? Yeah.
You are the house.
Because you're the one taking the risk, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're taking the risk, you get the reward, right? So that's a really big plus, I think, in my book, at least.
And that would be just distributed. So, for instance, if you were like 1% of the PHLP pool, you get 1% of that 100 grand.
That's right. There you go.
Gotcha.
That's correct. It should, yes, it should work like that, right? So it's, you're a proportional owner of this pool. So whatever fees you get, you're proportionally getting paid those fees, right? It's not skewed. There's no sort of whale bonus or anything like that. It should be very linear, very, fair in that aspect. So
very interesting.
But yeah, that's PHLP, gentlemen. If we want to get into the nitty gritty, you'll see here that there's certain fees for depositing a range of assets, right? So if I go and try and buy PHLP with Hex, I'm going to pay a larger fee, so 37 basis points, over me depositing DAI. Okay. Well, why is that? Well, that's because if we go to dashboard here and we see the weighted targets, you'll see that DAI is underweight. So it will incentivize you to deposit DAI. Whereas Hex is overweight, right? So we want the target weight to be 15% in this pool or in this allocation here, but in fact it's 19%. So it's going to disincentivize you from using Hex to buy PHLP token. So you're going to pay a higher fee. But if that's all you have, no worries. You can throw it in the PHLP pool. You're just going to pay a little bit of a higher fee, right?
Let's go swap it for DAI real quick and come over and put DAI in.
You can do that. Yeah, exactly.
The protocol needs that asset. So
exactly. Yeah. So you'll see these weights, they'll be adjusted if more assets are added to the PHLP pool. on mainnet, you're going to probably see Bitcoin and Ethereum in here as well. It should probably look very similar to what you see on fiat. I don't know about the stable coins, but I will say that ETH is definitely going to be on here, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not just going to be RH tokens. Okay.
What about some of the littler guys like Paul? Paul says who's going to be the first to try and short PDI and Atropa. Are things like that going to be on there in time?
Probably not for a very long time.
Okay.
Let's be honest. Okay. I don't know when the altcoins will start to be on the market. This is kind of for the blue chip stuff.
Sure.
We literally haven't even gotten futures for Hex yet, and it's been 4 years almost. Okay, we're now just starting to get perpetual swaps for Hex, right? So the altcoins, they'll get their love one day, right? But right now we're focusing on Pulsex and Hex. Okay. So if this runs well, I don't see why we can't have altcoins on here one day, right, in the far future. Okay. But right now,
probably relatively soon, like Ethereum and Bitcoin type of thing as well. You think?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, blue chips, right? More liquid stuff. But yes, that is PHLP. The quick rundown. Now,
and is there? And if I'm not mistaken, there's a part. So there's a part where you could brag about how a trade went. With that being said, you could also, I mean, theoretically, you could see who's winning specific wallets, who's winning and who's losing big as well, couldn't you?
So that doesn't
Is there a way
exist
to
yet.
see that?
Like, if somebody builds a front end to like aggregate all of that statistics and stuff, you can see individual wallets. Sure, yes. However, that's extremely valuable, and I don't know if people want that to be public, right?
Sure.
If they build it, so most likely you'll see people build that for themselves, right? I don't have access to one. I might build one for myself, right? But there are blockchain data firms that have these things that are available that they use for GMX. Like, for instance, there's one that they use, you have to pay for it, like a monthly subscription. And they aggregate tons of DeFi stuff, tons of DeFi data. And yeah, we'll talk to those guys and see if they can add our stuff onto it. But, like, we need to launch first. But,
Sure.
But yeah, no, those front ends, they're very valuable, but most of the time, you have to pay for it in some way. So
that'd be useful information.
Exactly, yeah. Or you're just smart enough to build your own, and then you have your own stuff, right? And then you're a prick. You don't share with anybody.
Sure.
But yeah, so that'd be cool to have. I guess kind of like if you guys are familiar with BitMEX, you were able to share your positions, and you'd have a username, and then you'd have a leaderboard, right? And you could see other people's positions, their P&L when they entered the market, how much they're down, how much AUM is, all that sort of stuff, right? So I would assume people are going to build very similar front ends for things like this, right? So, but yeah, I just don't, I don't have one, so
sure.
I wish I did.
That's fair. That's cool.
So now that we've gone over PHLP and being a liquidity provider, why don't we open up a speculative position? So let's go long on Hex, right? Let's do 22,000. I think I can still. Yeah, let's crank that leverage bar up, baby. Hell yeah.
While you're doing that, the system will self-balance. I was thinking through this the other day. So, like, there has to be enough liquidity in order to be able to support the leverage.
Correct.
And so, like, if there wasn't, then it would only allow you to do a certain amount, or not at all if there was no liquidity to support what you wanted to come in and open up. Correct?
That's correct. Yes. And so that also makes the loans very expensive. So, like, let's say there's only $2.5 million available for Hex liquidity, right? So that would essentially mean that there's a cap on the amount of leverage that can be taken out on Hex on the low end, right? So on testnet, we have the maximum amount of hex that can be deposited, and there is still a limit. There's a limit of $5 million of longs that can be opened, okay, on hex, right? So let's say there's only $5 million of hex, and the maximum long, or let's say there's $4 million. Okay, so that would mean the maximum long capacity for hex would be about $4 million. Okay, and that would make the borrowing fee for hex like stupid expensive, right? And you can see here, the borrow fee is calculated as assets divided by total assets in pool, right? And then times 0.01% per hour. So as that number gets close to to a higher number, obviously you're gonna be paying a fucking shitload of fees every hour, right? And which is, I mean, hey, if you're a liquidity provider and you're a staker, that's great for you, right? Which is not so bad. But yes, you know.
And could you even, like, in that scenario, say like you're the first person there and you want to open up a position, there's, say, people deposited $4 million of hex, you had, 400K, and you wanted to go, 10x leverage, so you were the full pool. Theoretically, could that be done by one user if they were there early and gobbled it all up, or is there limits in that respect as well?
So you're asking if one person provided all the liquidity and then opened up
No,
a
no, no. I'm
position?
saying so people provide the liquidity. One
Okay.
person though wants to go open a position, short or long. Could they take the entirety of the liquidity if they had
Yeah, of
enough?
course.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I'll show you. I had on my other computer, I have a short position open on hex, and it's the whole fucking pool. So yeah, it's entirely possible, right? But
Interesting.
what's nice is, you could, as a liquidity provider, you could either let them hold their position open and collect fees off of them, or if they're extremely leveraged, you could see what you could do. Like, are they close to being stopped out? Is the market going to go in reverse of them? You don't know.
Money would be made there if you get their position to be liquidated.
Yeah, so you run some math, you run some numbers. Okay, you can decide what you want to do with that, right? It's just
the games.
That's information, right? So, but
all the games.
Yes, all the games, gentlemen. And hold on, I need to do my.
This is the most sophisticated casino I've ever seen on crypto.
There you go.
The casino for big money.
There you go. And what's really great is I think PHLP will be able to be used as a deposit on fiat, right? So you can borrow against your PHLP, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you can do with that with what you will, right?
Super cool.
Yeah. And so there's going to be some synergies here.
Well, you could go. There will probably be an LP pool for PHLP on Fux, right? So you could go and earn your fees on your PHLP, and then earn fees on the fees in the LP pool.
That's right. Yes.
Fees compounded on top of fees.
Yeah, that's right. What would be really complex and interesting is if there was, okay, so nobody's done this yet, but you are able to use your deposits on fiat, and you can create a liquidity pool with your deposit receipts, okay, on fiat, right? So let's say PHLP is on fiat. So you take your PHLP, you deposit it on fiat, okay? And then you can take now it's called PHLP, and then you can deposit that on PHUX, and then you can get even more yield, right? If people are borrowing it, right? So, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so wild. In a world in the future, that will probably be able to be done at some point, even though it's it's a little complex, right? But taking your PHLP, being a depositor on fiat, and then taking your deposit receipt that's on fiat and then providing it into a pool on PHUX, right? That's possible if we have that sort of order of operations, right? So, but yes. Now, we
Dion, do you have any idea on the what the APRs for staking is on GMX right now?
I don't, but I think in the peak of the euphoria, it was around 60 to 80% for liquidity providers, and I think it was around 40% for stakers, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
And I think right now it's hovering at around 20%, maybe. I have to look it up, but it's around that sort of area, right?
Okay, cool.
So, but yes. Since we've gone over PHLP and providing liquidity, now we are talking about trading and being traders, right? So I've opened up a 30x long on Hex. My position size is $3 million. I have a P&L. All right, so let me preface this. If you guys have ever traded on BitMEX or Binance or Bybit with margin, you'll notice that they don't give you your before or your post fee P&L. Okay, they literally just give you your profit and loss. So on PHUX, I'm sorry, on Phame, you can see your post fee. So that's literally your entire P&L after the fees that you've paid. So on my position, I'm down 6% because I paid fees to open up my position. Okay, I think I paid I think I paid a couple grand to open this position, if I'm not mistaken. And that's being paid to the liquidity providers and obviously the stakers. Okay. So, thank you for the fees. But now, since I'm the only one trading on testnet, I'm going to go buy some Hex to move the price. We're going to use, we'll use, that should be enough. That should pump the price a little bit.
A little.
Yeah. So, guys, on testnet, all the valuations are stupidly crazy, like extremely high. It's ridiculous. Actually, I don't want to be on V2. I want to be on V1. Okay, please work. So on testnet, the prices that are being pulled from V1. So if you guys wanted to trade, your best way to have the market kind of react the way you want it to is on V1.
Gotcha.
On testnet, at least, right? And if any of you guys are in the audience, if you guys want to counter trade me, please do so. Right? That'll make for an interesting
show.
Exactly. That's right.
Motley, come on, step up, bro.
Why is the liquidity so small? I guess I'm routing through a unique pair. I'm not. I'm just going to die. Interesting. Okay. Disable multi-hops. The hell is going on with the price of Hex? Anyways, so, but yeah, when you're opening these long positions or short positions, essentially, what you could be doing is hedging your positions, right? So, I like to use this example of being a Hex staker, right? If you staked 555 and you have a majority of your Hex locked up, you can protect yourself to the downside by opening up shorts, right? So you take a portion of your bag. If you think the top is in, and your stakes aren't coming out anytime soon, but you don't want to have that price downfall risk, right? What you could do is you can open up a short position, right? You can cover your ass a little bit with leverage, which is like an insurance policy. Okay, so you're paying a premium, an insurance premium, to kind of protect yourself to the downside, because if price goes up, you'll make millions still, presumably. But if price goes down, you have that cushion that kind of allows you to stomach the downfall a little bit easier, right? So you're still protected and you're still making money, evening out your portfolio. okay, to the downside, right? Because you're staked, you're making yield on your hex, even though the price is dropping. You opened up a short and you protected yourself to the downside. You know what I mean? And you're happy to lose the position because if we get another 2x, you're making a shitload more money than what you've lost, right? So if you use I don't know, let's say a 30x long, in which I'll show you something cool here. So I can edit this and I can withdraw some coins here, and I can increase my leverage. Right, so I can decrease it up to 50x. So I can change my position to a 50x long position, right? Or I can decrease my leverage by depositing more assets. Let's say the market is moving against me and I don't want to get liquidated. So I just deposit more assets and I've essentially raised my liquidation price, right? And I believe you can do this also by adding another long, right? So if you just go to long, you lower your leverage and then you buy in again. Let's say the price is falling, right? So let's say we go down. I'm going to get liquidated if we go down far, but let's say we go down, I don't know, 1%. So that would effectively be a 30% loss for my 30x long, right? I could open up a very low leverage long with a lot more collateral, and I could adjust my my entry price a little bit, and then I would also be able to lower my losses, kind of, and de-risk my position a little bit. You know what I mean? Right. So you can do that. You can edit your position. What's a great feature as well is you can open up limit orders. Yeah, limit orders, gentlemen.
Oh, this would be the first place you can do it on Pulsechain.
That's right. And you can, limit orders, my friends. That's very powerful, right? We don't have that yet on Pulsechain, and now we have the ability to open up limit orders. Now, I will say that opening up these limits, if there is a wick and it is a very fast wick, the limit order will not fill. Okay. If it is, if we wick down like on the SEC news like that we had, and you get a 5-minute price, your order will probably fill. Okay. But if you're going up and down 10% and that shit doesn't stay there for at least 5 minutes, it's probably not going to fill. Okay.
Does it work weighted, or how like matcha, if you don't have like 5K in a limit order or higher, typically you're not going to get filled. Is it weighted by how much you've put?
It's not weighted by that, no. So I'll describe what happens with matcha. So in matcha.exchange, .xyz or whatever, when you open up a limit, basically you're posting your liquidity available for a bot to come in there and buy it and then execute it for you on the mark price, right? So on the DEX. So if the price is moving very volatile or volatilely or whatever you want to say, what'll happen is that bot will notice, because there's liquidity there, and it's not like a flash loan or an MEV bot. It's the actual price. So somebody's actually selling. Let's say you're wanting to buy back in at a low price, right? So you open up a limit on Matcha. What happens is that bot then sees the price on the DEX, and ideally, what'll happen is it'll wait for the price to go down below your order, and then it will make money off of buying up the cheap price and then filling your order, right? And it makes sometimes they can make a shitload of money doing that, especially if it's a decent size, and it buys up the price until it runs out of liquidity on your order, or the price goes back up above your order, and then it stops filling you, right? On Famous,
the bots are always in profit, I would imagine. That's why that's why they build them that way.
Yeah, so those bots on Matcha, if they're not making any money, they're not going to fill your shit, right?
Right.
Yeah. So now on Famous, it is different in the fact that when you open up these positions, it's taking the price from the exchange or exchanges, right? It's taking an aggregated time-weighted average price, TWAP, and then it's posting the price on Famous, okay, on Fame. And when it does that, it takes time for that TWAP to adjust to the price. So if we get a 2-minute wick or something like that, the TWAP is not going to have enough time to catch up to that wick, right? So you probably won't get filled, okay? But that also protects the users that are trading, right? So, if you have somebody that tries to nuke the market and they can only do it for 2 minutes, right? The traders, they're not going to get wrecked. What's going to happen is the guy that's trying to run the stops on the traders, that guy's going to get wrecked, right? Because then somebody else is going to gobble their position up, and then they're going to be left without pants, so to speak. Right?
So you got to be able to hold the price at a certain place for. Is it at least 5 minutes? Is that how it works for the TWAP to adjust?
So it's a couple minutes. I don't know the exact time frame.
Okay.
I haven't asked the devs the exact amount of time, but there's a TWAP. More volatility. I would assume the price moves faster, obviously, right? But it's like 15 seconds. You're not moving the price, buddy. Okay. You do a flash loan, it's not going to do anything to the price. Couple minutes, you're going to be affecting the price. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, these limit orders, they should work so long as there's liquidity available for you to trade. They're very useful. Once you open them, you can open up an extremely low, you have to use the leverage. And then, you post your liquidity, your limit order at whatever price you want. So let's do $100 on Hex, which is stupid. And it tells you here that, hey, look, listen, there needs to be sufficient liquidity. The mark price is an aggregate, and it's, don't get mad at us if if it doesn't reach. Okay. But yes, so read the terms and conditions before you accept. It's not guaranteed that your order will fill, right? But given the time and liquidity, your order should fill. Okay. So, but yes, now we've enabled.
You could set it in there with leverage too if you wanted to go and do that. Huh.
Yeah, so you could open up. You can increase however much leverage you want, right? But in the case of just being a regular user wanting to open up a long position or wanting to buy the dip on Hex, basically, for me, I would do low leverage. I'd create my limit order. So you'll see, let's see here, available liquidity. Yep. So there's plenty of liquidity for me to open up this position. Yeah. So it's trying to. Here, I'm going to do it on Pulse because it's trying to add to my position that I have open already. So we're going to do limit. We're going to do % on Pulse, which is also very expensive. That's above the mark price. No, it's not. Oh, 50 USD. Okay. There we go. All right, here we go. So available liquidity, 17 million Pulse. Okay. Profits in Pulse, leverage 1.1x. My lick price is 5 cents. My fees, I'm going to pay 76 cents for this position. It's only $500. And we're going to open up the order. Now this is going to be a limit order on Pulsechain on testnet. Okay. And once this opens, the limit order is submitted. You'll see your limit orders on this tab here when they populate. Okay. So yeah, that'll take a couple minutes to open, and then you'll see it. But
cool.
Very, very powerful tool. Limit orders are very invaluable. Let's see. There you go. So you can see right here, increase TPLS long by $760. Price less than 50 cents. And then you can see the mark price here. So now that is an active limit order on testnet. You can do this on mainnet to your heart's desire, so long as there is liquidity. If your limit order is $5 million, right, and people have opened up a bunch of short or a bunch of longs, and there's no more liquidity for your limit order, it's not going to fill.
It's going to fill. Yeah.
And it tells you that in the disclaimer before you actually enable the limit orders, right? So just keep that in mind, gentlemen.
Okay, that's great.
What about stop losses?
Yeah, that was a good question.
There are triggers. Yes. So you have triggers. Let's see. Let's go back to positions. All right. So let me go back to hex. Open a position. All right. Let's go to trigger.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Trigger. Yeah.
Hold on. After opening position, there'll be a close button in each position row. Click the display button. Trigger orders. Okay. Bruh. Trigger. Here we go. All right. So this is my first time using a trigger on testnet. Now I can let's do the maximum amount. So I'm going to close the $3 million. And I'm going to close it at, let's do 235. There should be a profit there. Mark price, yes. So I'd make $80,000 on this order. Let's create the order.
Jeez, it's the exact same feature set you would have on an exchange. It's insane that this is DeFi now.
That's right. It's crazy, isn't
it? It blows my mind, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I would have my trigger set. Let's see if I can chart the positions. Maybe it'll pop up if we're lucky. Hex long, you can see my liquidation price.
Yeah.
Okay, the order has been made. Order's here. So you can see decrease hex long over $235. You can see the mark price, and you can edit it or you can cancel it. So I now have a trigger open for my long to close my long above $235 per hex.
Cool.
So
excellent.
Cool. Yeah,
there you go.
Great.
And you can also do this inversely by having a stop loss, right? Now, same like Binance. There you go. Now,
same.
Listen, if the market is volatile, it could move past your shit and you could get liquidated anyways. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the market's slowly moving down, your orders will trigger. Okay. But if it's very volatile, there's not really much we can do. All right. It is what it is. That's part of the game, buddy. Okay.
Not a guarantee.
Yeah. This is DeFi. This is not a BitMEX where you have millisecond ticks, right? This is you're using minutes here to source price. Okay.
What about when the Oracle comes? Are you guys gonna be tapping into that? And is that gonna help any?
Are you talking about fetch?
Yeah.
So fetch is too slow for
really?
For
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So right now the devs are using a fallback Oracle, which is the best we got, right?
Okay.
And then as there's higher latency oracles or lower latency oracles that come to Pulsechain, after they've been running for a while, right? And then they don't break, then
right.
Those will be implemented, right?
Okay.
But
okay. Good to know. So we could be always improving and upgrading. This is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the point is, or the goal is to be as decentralized as possible, right? So
yeah, of course.
We're trying to launch. So the best thing we can do right now is have a fallback Oracle, right? That's run by the devs. Okay. Very similar to fiat, right? Works really well. Okay. But yep. There you go. That is the feature. That is your feature set by being a trader on Famous.
Amazing, bro. This is
so cool.
Degen sophistication. That's what this is.
I'm excited to invite all the haters coming short everything.
Come on, let's
people
go.
Put their money where their mouth is. Let's
there you go.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So when you guys post your P&Ls, please, even if it's $1, it doesn't matter. Fucking share your P&L. Okay.
Yeah.
You go here. Look, you go to share, right? You can post that puppy directly to Twitter, and it'll make a tweet for you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. You can download it, post it in Telegram. You can copy the IPFS link, and then it'll populate on Telegram, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
my feed's gonna be full of these now. I know it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's great marketing.
It's amazing marketing.
Yeah.
Precisely. So yeah, when Eric Wall goes in, oh yeah, Hex is going to 0. Okay. All right, go open up the short, buddy.
I don't know.
I want to see your P&L, Eric.
I don't
Right.
think he really believes that. I think he's long on X, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. I think it's all
But
conspiracy shit.
and the last thing that you can do on Famous, besides providing liquidity, besides speculating on price or hedging your positions or whatever you need to do, right? Oh, I just thought of something. Let's say you're depositing on fiat, and then you're borrowing to open up a position in a liquidity pool, right? And you want to protect yourself, like let's say overnight, right? So if the position starts to move against you overnight while you're providing liquidity, you can open up a small position to protect your loan on fiat by countering your borrowing, right? So let's say,
Ah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Wow.
So let's say,
You can go short a little bit on your PHLP.
correct. Yeah. So, well, let's say you're providing liquidity on PHUX, but because you're borrowing, I don't know, Pulsechain or whatever versus a stable coin. All right. So that's kind of a volatile borrowing market. You know what I mean? Because your collateral is a stable coin and your debt is Pulsechain. Okay. Pulsechain could go up, and you could lose your stable coin due to price volatility. You know what I mean? So in that case, since you're using a stable coin as collateral and you're borrowing the Pulsechain, and you want to protect yourself to the upside, what you could do is you could open up a leverage long on Pulsechain, right? Because you're providing the liquidity over on PHUX, and then you can literally hedge yourself with leverage overnight on Famous, right? And you can do this inversely, right? If you're depositing Pulse and you're wanting to deposit in the stablecoin pool, right? So you deposit your Pulse, you borrow the stablecoin, you stick it in the stable pool, you're making a little bit of money. But if Pulse goes down, you're fucked, right? So you open up a short on Famous, right?
Yeah.
To protect yourself against that downside while you're holding that liquidity position open. You understand?
More insurance positions.
So yeah, all sorts of ways you can use this stuff, right? And I literally just thought of that just now. So
I'm
very
just imagining it all with like in combination with Tetra, you could automate a lot of the stuff.
exactly, yeah.
Tetra can pull it off. I mean, it could be wild.
Yeah. So you could, definitely. Okay, so on Tetra,
Red Squirrel, you here, bro? You better be writing some scripts up, Red Squirrel. Calling you out.
Yeah. So I want to go and click a button on Tetra and be like, okay, I want to deposit on fiat. I want to borrow this asset, put it in this liquidity pool, and then protect myself on Famous in case it inverses my trade with leverage. Boom! I click a button and then it all populates. That'd be fucking sick.
That'd be so sick.
That'd be nuts. Yeah. So
yeah, sleep like a baby.
It's cool to see new things launching. The more new things that launch, the more games there are to be played, and we're here for it. I think it's cool. We're starting to see Pulsechain like take some life. There will be some additional things to be done other than meme coins that have absolutely stolen the show out of the gates here, which is cool.
And so the last feature set that we have on Phame is staking, which is super easy, right? Let's do 55. Just do the max, fuck it. And we're gonna deposit our Phame into the staking portion of the site. And this one's really straightforward, gentlemen. This one, it's just so complicated. Okay, you have your Phame, you approve the transaction for spending, you wait for it to go through, then you stake your tokens. Okay, and just like that, now you're staked and you're making money. Okay, That's amazing.
That's
amazing. There you go. So now I'm staked. I got a shark position worth $820 million. Stupid.
Sir, can we have this price, please?
Just manifest that.
Please, just give me. I'll be a good boy. Just give me this price.
Yeah. I won't even bitch no more about my Pulsechain and Pulse.
I won't bitch. Yeah, please.
I love the little it's the little things for me about the dashboards and some of the things that the PH team is. I love how you can see your your league, your
Yeah.
secret your league.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I
Great,
think
right?
it's awesome. I think those little things are really
Yeah.
useful.
And they're
it's cool.
sticky too. Like people really like that stuff. I do too. Okay. But yeah, people really like that stuff, and they very much value it. So yes, it's just, there's a certain stickiness to it, and kind of a braggadocious
Yep.
aurora around it, whatever you want to say. So
Yeah.
but
Are you aware? Is the team doing any have anything in store? I believe, and I don't want to misquote him, but I think Buck has mentioned that he had some ideas for marketing once Fame launched to bring more people over to show what what could be done here. Do you have any insights on that?
So we're gonna do our regular old tour on YouTube, right? Like we usually do. But other than that, there will be trading competitions, if I'm not mistaken,
Cool.
right?
Perfect.
There'll be things like that. There obviously, the community will try and bait these guys that are expert traders in the community, right? Like, hey, post your fucking P&L, bud. Let's actually see some fucking profit and losses here, sir.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like,
Let's see it.
like Tangent Jenkins, Gunther. Okay. Who else? Who else is a trader in this community? B Roots. Okay. Eric Wall. Fucking even Whale Chart. We're gonna get that motherfucker to.
Yeah, please, bro. I'm tired of his FUD.
I like to see him back it up. Yeah.
Come put your money where your mouth's at with all that FUD, bro.
Yeah, come over here, motherfucker.
Ah,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, shit like that,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
Westcott, he's plenty wrecked, Connor. Sir, I don't know how much more wrecked I'll get. I mean,
Sorry, man. Yeah. Oh boy.
guy needs to breathe for a few months.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I think Fame is going to make the bowl much more fun.
This is true.
I think it could usher in for a lot of the stuff.
That's what I was
Because
going
once
to say.
again, I think we're DeFi fall is largely upon us or beginning. We're seeing it with the meme stuff, which I think is cool for those guys.
It's good for the small bags. The meme coins are good for small.
Yes.
This is going to be good for the big bags to do.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes.
You have big bags in the meme coin space like B Roots, but like you have a couple on top controlling everybody else who has small bags.
Yeah. This
is like all big bags get to play and DJ and evens the playing field. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah. And so to kind of put it in perspective, what Corey is saying is when you have these assets that are low liquidity, right? If I have 100 grand, I can't buy the PDI stuff. I literally just can't do it. Even if I used like an auto router, right? So that, or if I split up my shit into smaller buys, like 10 grand or something, right? I still move the price fucking 40% if I'm buying 100 grand worth of stuff, right? Like, it's just not, it's not feasible for me to make money on that, right?
Largely why I don't participate. Largely is because
exactly
right there. It's
you make a 10x on $200. It's not going to move the needle in your life.
Yeah, I don't get out of bed for that. Oh, come on.
Even a few thousand for the money I've put into the Pulsechain ecosystem as a whole, like there's nothing there that's going to I made all my money that I lost back from since we've launched. No, there's no meme coin that's going to give me any kind of but this could, if I really wanted to
if you're feeling bold.
If I'm feeling, this could.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, these are big boy tools, right? Big boys will use these tools. Mm-hmm. They've already started using fiat. They're in the PHUX pools, right? Like we looked the other day. There's one person in the stable swap pool. They hold, I think, 20% of the stable swap assets, right? In the PHUX stable swap pool, which is, I believe is like $1.5 million or some shit like that, right? So, the bigger guys, they play in these liquidity pools. They play on fiat. They're going to play on Famous.
Yep.
They're going to move the markets. They're going to have fun, right? And there you go, right? Should bring some speculation, right? It is in your own best interest. Let me put it this way. If you're a bigger guy, it is in your own best interest that these DeFi protocols have real users, have real cash flows, and have real use, because these bigger guys that are outside of the community, they take note of that, right? Like Arthur Hayes, he's not on Arbitrum because, of the DGen play on GMX. No, he noticed that GMX had cash flows. He noticed that it had real users and that it was, it had plenty of liquidity. And he really liked the aspect of how it replicated BitMEX on chain, right? And that's why Arthur Hayes is one of the largest investors in GMX, right? The decentralized solution to his exchange, which is, that's great, right? That's one of the richest people in crypto at the moment. And he took note of that, and he literally went on this other L1 Arbitrum just solely so he could be on GMX, right? So these bigger guys, when they see these DeFi tools that, and they're working and they're producing cash, they will come and they will play, right? Regardless of the FUD. All right. That'll stop out the guys that really don't know what it's like to be here. Because if you think about it, everybody in crypto is pretty much a libertarian. The guys that got in early, the guys that have been here the longest, they don't like the government. They don't give a shit what the government says.
Right.
They've used privacy solutions. They're not afraid of that stuff. What they're concerned about is the true DeFi stuff, the innovation that happens, and finding the diamond in the rough, right? And hopefully, with the DeFi that we get on Pulsechain, hopefully we'll be the diamond in the rough, right? We don't know yet, but that's the hope, right? So, end rant there, but back to staking, gentlemen. When you're staking, the same thing with fiat. You have a 14 days of an unlocking period where you have to wait. So you got to wait 2 weeks when you initiate an end stake, right? There's no whale bonus. There's no longer pays better or anything like that. It's very straightforward. You can stake, and then you can just leave it there. There's no time duration. There's only the 2 week wait that you have to incur when you actually go to end stake. And then you have a 7-day withdrawal window. So you have 7 days to actually withdraw your tokens from the stake. And throughout that entire time, you're making fees. Okay. And the form of these fees is in PHLP tokens. Okay. So you're getting paid the liquidity token, which just makes it easier on the platform. It used to just pay you all of the tokens and you would claim it kind of like on fiat. But now the devs have edited it, so it's a lot more efficient and easy. You literally just claim the PHLP token now. Very straightforward. Okay. You can take that token and redeem it for DAI. You can redeem it for Hex. You can redeem it for Pulse, for PulseX. It doesn't matter. You now have a stake in the liquidity, right? So, which also means you could essentially be a passive liquidity provider by just staking. Let's say you have a decent sized bag. Okay. Over time, you're going to be a portion of the liquidity that could be impactful, I guess, right? If the fees were very lucrative, okay, you could end up having a passive liquidity position, which means you're getting still a portion of the liquidations, right? So that's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much the basic rundown of staking on Famous. And the staking APR on testnet is literally 0 because Fame is $8,000 a token. Okay. So I've just started staking. I've made 25 cents. All right. So 25 cents an hour or 25 cents every 10 minutes or whatever that I'm making out of $800 million is it's 0.0000 whatever, right? So it's stupid low. But on mainnet it'll be a more realistic number. Okay. Let's be honest. All right.
I hope not.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. I would really like I'd really like it for $8,000 token. Yeah, that'd be great, right? But I'll be reasonable and say that's probably not going to happen. Okay, not out of the gate. All right. Sorry to crush the dreams, gentlemen, but I just like I will definitely eat my words if that happens.
Oh boy.
But I just I just don't see it. But yes, I'll take the pessimistic position there. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that is famous.io, gentlemen. That's staking, that's PHLP providing, that is trading. You guys have any questions for me?
No, that's great.
I personally don't. We can ask the chat if we see any more.
There we go.
I know Dane's really good at monitoring the chat.
Yeah.
But this is amazing.
Molly, you pronounce it arbitrum. We just learned that from Dylan today. So now you know.
Arbitrum. I'm just gonna keep saying it like I saying it. Arbitrum. Sorry, guys.
Arbitrum.
Yeah, absolutely. AK Phame. I'm buying Lambos and playing bumper cars. We'll play with you.
Yeah.
There you go,
We can do it on the private island that we buy too, right off of Puerto Rico. We can buy one of these islands and like fill them up with Lambos and.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a question that I missed. Somebody was asking about a minimum to deposit. Of course, there's fees and things, so I imagine there's got to be a minimum where it, just it doesn't make sense to go and deposit it to open a long or short position. Is that accurate?
On Famous?
Yeah.
It should be proportional. So the fees aren't going to be a fixed rate fee. It's basically, so if you're it's depending on your leverage, right? So it's a percentage. So, if you're opening up $10 million worth of stuff, you're going to pay the same percentage as the guy that opens up $1 worth of stuff. You know what I mean? It'll just be a different amount.
Okay.
But you'll have the same sort of like fee structure, I guess, right? There's no discounts or surcharges or whatever for size or whatnot.
Sure. Is there? Oh yeah, this is a good one. Is there, Dylan? Do you have any insights on a potential PHUX airdrops that might be?
Yeah, there should definitely be some more in the future. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think the devs are focused on getting this launched. I would presume that after Fame launches, I think we'll be back on schedule to maybe get some airdrops out. But
well, I mean, technically we had one. If you had fiat and you went and staked fiat, you got Flux. That was your last airdrop. Was
true. Yeah.
Get out to the fiat.
In a roundabout way, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was an airdrop. It was unexpected free money. At least for me, it was. I didn't know I was going to go get Flux by staking my fiat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very pleasant surprise. Yes.
Yeah, I'll take it, bro.
Lovely. And if you guys didn't know, that will not last forever, but it is there to help with. It's like a subsidy, right? It's there to just kind of jumpstart. We're spraying a little bit of carburetor fluid in the intake right now. Okay, we're getting the puppy, to start purring. Okay, so but yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but it sounds like in time PHLP will be able to be used on fiat for collateral.
Yes, I don't want to give you exact expectations, but I'm pretty sure yes, it'll probably be used as collateral at some point. Yes.
Yeah, I think that Buck, if I'm not mistaken, on in the Telegram in one of the PH Telegram rooms, he mentioned this and he said in time, but it'll take a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, because this stuff needs to grow. People need to be aware of how it's used and everything like that, right? So if there's only worst case, let's say there's only 10 grand in there, right? Like, come on, it's definitely not gonna be used at that point. But I don't see it being that low, obviously. Right? I think we'll get a couple $1 million in there, kind of right off the bat, and then you'll be able to open up positions and all this stuff. Yeah, once it. I don't know. I literally don't know. It's eventually, right? So.
Right. You can't keep the trailer park pronunciations out of Florida, man.
Right. Exactly. Arbitrum.
That's right. Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty well nailed it down today. This was Dylan. We appreciate you giving us the walkthrough. So, for those of you that joined a little bit late, sounds like we'll get our tokens on Saturday. There's a Spaces you can go find that Buck will be putting on Saturday in the morning. And what did you say? 10:30, Dylan, or Eastern Standard?
Here, I'll grab you the link on Twitter, and then you can post.
Oh yeah, throw it in the comments. That'd be great.
Yeah, here we go. Got it. Oh, this is your.
I always like attending those Spaces just because of all the alpha Buck drops, anyways. When he's about to do his distribution of tokens, he's always giving some good commentary on what's going on with the market, what he thinks, where he thinks we're going, where we're at. So it's good stuff.
Any speculation, Dylan? There was I'm pretty sure that Phame was the most money that the PH team raised for sacrifices, raised more than fiat. Any speculation on, because once the token launches on Saturday, theoretically, I imagine that liquidity will be put up relatively soon. People can go and buy and sell on the market. Any thoughts with that one? Do you think that we'll see? What's your general feel? Do you think there's excitement in the community for people to go and buy that up that haven't participated in the sacrifice? What are your thoughts there?
So I'll preface it with, I will not speculate on price. It's irresponsible for me to do that. Okay.
Sure.
I will tell you that there's going to be a majority of the LP on PHUX. That's probably going to be the go-to place to buy Famous. Some community members, they will provide liquidity on PulseX. So we have a pool. Okay. Hopefully those guys, they feel generous and they make the valuation really stupid low. So we have a really cool chart.
Right.
That'd be cool. But yeah, as far as hype and stuff, I mean, my first Twitter post in a while, it got 16,000 views or whatever. And I was just like, hey, are you guys ready for Phame? Because I sure am, right? And then I posted the feature set that we had, right? So opening up a position, limit orders, P&L cards, shit like that. I mean, that was pretty, and that was out of the blue, right? So, I mean, I think there is a lot of interest around Phame. People definitely know that it exists. They've been waiting a while for it. And yes, this was the highest sack that we've had. Or that the team had, and it was, I believe, 13 million, 14 million, somewhere around there. It was in two parts. There was one pre-Pulsechain, and then there was one post-Pulsechain. Okay, and so with that being said, there's definitely going to be available liquidity. I would presume that the sacrifice funds are going to be, yeah, exactly. Buck has talked about having 2 gauge pools ready to go launch. Yep, exactly. So I would imagine that during the voice chat that we have on Saturday, probably at some point the token will go live. Everybody will be able to mint. People can then start to put up pools. And then, then it's off to the races, gentlemen, right? And then a couple days later, the platform will go live. I don't have a specific time frame on how long that'll take. I've just been, days, right? So, and yeah, Motley's on the dime here. Yep, Phame Pulse 7030. That's right.
I like that pool. That's a good pool.
And then maybe if you guys wanted to decouple from Pulsechain, you guys could provide with stablecoins to Phame if you so desired. Okay. And that should limit the upside and downside for Famous if you think Pulsechain is going to go down, right? So, for instance, there's a community member named Moritz who thinks that do not launch Buck. The Pulsechain is going to continue to fall, and it's going to drag down Phame. Well, I mean, come on, buddy, we're on Pulsechain, right? So pairing with Pulse is only natural, okay? And being able to brag about outperforming Pulse, that's probably just going to happen anyways. So
sure,
it is what it is, right? So, but I think we're close to the bottom here on Pulse. Even with the bad news that we had the other day, or the scary news, it wasn't really spread around that much. So it wasn't.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It wasn't sensational, but it was pretty scary news, right? Like thinking about getting blacklisted. That's pretty
Saw
scary,
that.
right? The price didn't react. Okay, so what does that tell you, right?
Exactly.
That should tell you something, gentlemen. Okay,
Right.
we are so depressed, we don't even give a shit if we're fucking blacklisted. Okay, so like,
And there was a very, I would say, known community member, and he even works for a certain protocol or works with a certain protocol, who was spreading that around on Twitter. And
I mean,
a lot of
rightfully
people
so, right?
thought-
People need to know that this exists, right? Like,
well, a lot of people probably saw it because they know him.
oh yeah, good point.
They know him. I mean, he's followed by a lot.
Yeah.
Just because he's tied to a certain protocol, and so it's remarkable. I thought for sure that we might have saw something, but we didn't. And I had the same sentiment. I was like, but I've kind of felt this way for the last week or two, where I feel like, man, just kind of how we're just here and we've been here for a while. Yeah. And I've said it on the show, like, and this is not financial advice by any means, guys. I'm just a guy on the internet speculating who doesn't know shit. In fact, Dylan knows a lot more than I do, and a lot of you guys in the chat know a lot more than I do. But I feel like we're at a bottom. That's me. I
feel like the energy's starting to shift. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure the meme coin guys making money right now. Of course, they can make their $50, $100, $500 bag. I'm happy for them. And then hopefully this brings in the big money, man. I think this is the tool that might bring the bull run to Pulsechain.
Possible.
I'm going out on a limb there, man, but I think this could be it. Big players are going to see this the way they saw GMX. They're going to see just how much fun they can have and how much money they can make. Yeah. And man, it's just gonna. I'm excited, man. So
should be good.
I am very excited as well, sir. And I'll further that point.
What? We are vaccinated.
Yes.
Oh God, that's great.
What is this? You think it's $50? More like $15K just on DAI. Well, nice, man. Congrats on your $15,000.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
There was a guy that posted a picture of having $100,000 on DAI, which is like 38 million DAI. Okay, but he left out the slippage. Okay, I went on PulseX and I looked up the slippage, and it was 17%. That means it would move the price 30%. Okay, that's how that works. So he would have nuked the fucking price of the chart if he would have sold all that. That's $100,000.
Yeah,
not even that much. Okay, so yes, playing in low liquidity environments is very fun, right? But when you're trying to pull out real money, it's hard. It's not easy. Like, imagine Godwell trying to pull out $10 million right now. Okay, that's kind of the position where that's the sort of aspect we're talking about here, right? So Godwell is inserting he inserted millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars back in the day for Hex, and now he has tens of millions of dollars, right? Still relatively liquid. He can't even pull out that much, all right? And same thing with these meme coins, right? You can insert and speculate with a little bit, right? But when you start to make these real money, these big gains, it's hard to get out of those assets. Okay, it's just the fact of the matter. Okay, yep, that's all I'll say about that.
Well, we're not flooding it. I mean, I'm all for it. I want it to happen until we have you guys like this coming more and more to the chain. We need that activity, in my opinion. Yeah. So, like, I'm all for it.
And I mean, listen, I spoke to 3 devs, okay, and I had them look at the code on the Maker DAI stuff, right? And one of them found that there was a debt ceiling for minting DAI with Pulse as collateral, right, as it's intended to be used, right? So, even though the supply is hyperinflated by like almost 10x relative to the ETH supply. So, on ETH, there's 3 billion DAI. On Pulsechain, there's 21 billion DAI. Okay. So it's definitely inflated. There was definitely people that inflated the token. All right. Those people are in the deepest profit, right? Because they inflated or they minted hundreds of millions of DAI for a couple pennies worth, right? So now 100 million DAI is like $300,000. Okay, it's some stupid fucking number. Okay, so these guys, those are the guys in deep profit. Don't know how many of them there are. I don't know if they've dumped or not, but if they start dumping, the price will react, pretty negatively. So that's what you got going for you. That's your playing field, right? They can't mint anymore. The debt ceiling's been reached. I found that. I published my results, and I told the DAI guys, look, listen, I've been saying that you can mint this shit, but the debt ceiling's been reached. It can no longer be minted with Pulse. The only thing that you can mint it with is wrap Bitcoin, which is not profitable at the moment. So use this to your advantage. Here's my findings. Enjoy. Right. And
love it.
So, but yeah, like we said in the beginning, can it go to $1? Sure. There can be bubbles, right? Do I think it will? Probably not. Not for a very long time. Or, like, gentlemen, I don't know. Would you really speculate on a fucking broken stablecoin? Like, there's better things, I guess. Right? So,
right.
It's having its moment.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's just my opinion. Okay.
Absolutely.
But enjoy. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. Well, cool, guys. Yeah, and I dropped. Dylan gave us the link. I dropped it in the chat. If you want to come and join the spaces on Saturday,
I'll be there
for Phame launch. I'll be there too. Dylan will be there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Excellent.
So come and join us there. And otherwise, we appreciate Dylan coming on.
Appreciate you, brother. As always, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cool, guys. Have a good one.
Peace.